I've been a lot of things in this life. A rubber-faced goofball, a masked crusader, a green-haired menace, and even God for a day. I've made millions laugh, and I've made a few uncomfortable. But beyond all of that, I've been something that matters more than fame or fortune. I've been awake, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. Waking up. Not just getting out of bed or shaking off sleep, but really waking up to you, the real you, the one that's always been there but keeps getting buried under noise, expectation, and fear. You see, when I started out, I thought success was going to fill me. I really did. I thought if I could just be funny enough, if I could just become someone big enough, I'd be okay. So I threw myself at the dream like a man on fire. I wrote myself a check for $10 million dollars before I ever made a dime and dated it 5 years in the future. I visualized, I prayed, I trusted the universe. And guess what? I made that money. I made it with movies like Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber and The Mask. The check cleared. The dream came true. And then it didn't. Here's the thing nobody tells you. The top of the mountain is only as high as your self-worth. If you don't feel whole on the inside, no amount of applause or dollar bills is going to change that. I had everything I thought I wanted, but I still felt lost. The laughter was there, sure, but when the lights went down and the cameras stopped rolling, there was a silence that was deafening. And in that silence, I started to hear the truth. The truth that who I am, who you are, has nothing to do with your resume, your Instagram likes, or your GPA. We live in a world that's constantly trying to sell us something, an image, a lifestyle, a version of ourselves that looks great in photos, but feels empty in our hearts. We chase goals like they're golden tickets, and we wonder why we're still anxious, still unsatisfied, still afraid. But the answer isn't in achieving more. It's in being more present, being more vulnerable, being more you. When I finally stopped trying to be someone and started accepting who I already was, something magical happened. The fear began to loosen its grip. The self-doubt began to quiet. And in its place came something I hadn't expected. Peace. Not the kind of peace that comes from silence, but the kind that comes from knowing you're okay exactly as you are. You don't need to earn your place in this world. You already belong. I know some of you might be thinking, easy for you to say, Jim. You're famous. You've made it. But I'm here to tell you, none of that changes the fact that I still bleed, still cry, still wrestle with my demons. Success didn't cure me. Fame didn't save me. Love did. Self-love. And it's the hardest love to practice because it asks you to look in the mirror and embrace everything. The scars, the shame, the mistakes, the madness, and say, you're still worthy. The truth is, we're all afraid. Afraid of being seen. Afraid of not being enough. Afraid of failing or being forgotten. But fear is a liar. It's a shadow puppet. It's only as big as the power you give it. And when you stop feeding it, when you turn on the light and look it in the eye, you realize something extraordinary. You were never broken. You were becoming. You were growing. You were shedding the illusions that were never really you. I'm not saying the road is easy. In fact, I'm saying the exact opposite. It's hard to live authentically in a world that rewards performance. It's hard to say no when everyone's expecting yes. It's hard to cry when you're supposed to smile. But that's where the gold is. In the hard, in the real, in the honest. That's where you find your fire. The kind that doesn't burn you up but lights your way. I want to tell you something you might not hear enough. You are enough. Not because of what you do, but because of who you are. You are enough even on the days you feel like nothing. You are enough when you fail, when you fall, when you freak out. You are not your worst moments. You are not your darkest thoughts. You are something deeper, something eternal, a soul having a human experience, and that soul deserves compassion. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you really listened? Not to the noise around you, but to the whisper inside? That voice that says, this is what I love. This is what I long for. This is who I really am. We spend so much time editing ourselves for the world, we forget what we sound like unfiltered. But your truth is sacred. It's your song. And the world doesn't need another copy. It needs your original. I remember one time after a long day of shooting, I sat alone in my trailer and just broke down. I was tired, not just physically, but spiritually. I felt like I was wearing 100 masks and didn't know which one was mine anymore. But in that breakdown came breakthrough. I realized that I didn't need to keep pretending. The fire within you doesn't shout. It doesn't demand. It whispers. And the quieter you become, the louder it gets. But most of us are terrified of silence. We fill it with distractions, with scrolling, swiping, binge watching, and chasing. We're so afraid to hear our own thoughts that we drown them out. But listen to me. That fire within you, that whisper, it knows things. It remembers what you've forgotten. It knows what lights you up, what matters to you, what you're here to do. That's why stillness isn't laziness. It's wisdom. It's where the soul stretches, where the masks fall away, where your real voice comes through. And when you learn to honor that space, the quiet place within, you begin to walk differently. You begin to speak with clarity. You begin to choose not from fear, but from alignment. People ask me, Jim, how do I find my purpose? And I always say, you don't find it. You remember it. It's already in you. Your purpose is not something you chase. It's something you uncover. It's written in the fabric of your being, your joy, your pain, your weird quirks, your natural talents. They're all clues. Your purpose is less about what you do and more about how you live. It's about showing up in every moment as fully you. Your job isn't to impress. Your job is to express what's inside of you, even if it's messy, especially if it's messy. The world needs less perfection and more authenticity, less filtered lives and more fearless love. And when you give yourself permission to be real, you give others permission too. But you can't do that if you're living your life to please people. That's a prison, a polite, quiet prison. You smile when you want to scream. You say yes when you mean no. You show up for them and abandon yourself. And eventually you lose touch with who you are. But here's the good news. You can come home to yourself at any time. It's never too late to choose you. I've walked through the illusion. I've danced with depression. I've faced the void. And I've realized that what saves you isn't success. It's surrender. Surrender to what is. Surrender to what wants to be born in you. Surrender to the truth you keep hiding from, that you are already whole. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. There is only now. Now is where your power lives. Now is where your healing begins. Now is the moment you decide that you matter. Not later. Not someday. Now you were not made to live a life of quiet desperation. You were not made to fit in. You were made to shine. Not in a spotlight, but from the inside out. You are the light. You always have been. But we're taught to dim that light to make others comfortable, to tone it down, shrink it back, wrap it in apologies. I say, but screw that. The world needs you fully lit up, fierce, free, and unapologetically alive. Do you know what real success is? It's not trophies or titles. It's waking up without dread in your chest. It's laughing from your gut. It's having people around you who see you and still love you. It's being kind when you could be cruel. It's sleeping peacefully because your soul is aligned. That's the good stuff. That's the stuff that lasts. You don't need to chase a version of success that makes you sick. You don't need to grind yourself into dust for validation. You are already valuable. You don't have to earn your worth. You are your worth. There's a false belief that struggle equals worthiness, that suffering somehow makes us more deserving of love. But you don't need to suffer to be loved. You just need to show up. Honestly, tenderly, authentically. When you drop the performance and let yourself be seen, really seen, that's where intimacy is born. That's where connection becomes real. I've lived in the spotlight. I've also lived in the shadows. And I'll tell you something most people won't admit. The shadows are sacred. That's where you meet yourself. That's where you find out what you're really made of. And it's not weakness. It's strength in its rawest form. It's the kind of strength that doesn't look like power. It looks like truth. So cry when you need to. Laugh like a lunatic. Sit with your sadness. Dance with your joy. Let all of it be welcome. You don't need to edit your humanity to be lovable. You just need to show up as you are. You see, the mask we wear, the one we think protects us, it actually separates us. It keeps us disconnected. We think we have to be someone else to be loved, when all we ever needed to be was ourselves. The real magic in life isn't being extraordinary, it's being real. Realness, that's the revolution. And don't let anyone tell you your dreams are too big or your heart is too soft. Those are your superpowers. The world doesn't need more cynicism, it needs more dreamers, more lovers, more wild hearts who refuse to be tamed by fear. You don't have to do it all, you just have to do what's yours to do. What's calling you? Thank you.